Hi, good afternoon. This is video log entry 192. It's actually noon. Well, afternoon. It's 12:09 here, but CST, of course. Um, yeah, I don't know. Uh, I've just been considering a lot of things. I'm getting distracted. I don't know. Like recently, I've been reading the Bible and going through some of the Psalms and verses in uh, that part of the book. But I've been enjoying it. It keeps me in a tranquil state. Actually, I was planning on having some either sticky notes or flashcards or something to help me out with memorizing some of the verses just for fun, I guess. So I got that from the store a couple days ago. I haven't started writing down on my flashcards or quote unquote sticky notes. I think the sticky notes they can serve as reminders, and also I was thinking is like, well, it doesn't just have to be reminders. It can be designated for like a particular emotional state that you'd like to be in at a given time. So I was thinking about like designating it that way through, I don't know, like putting a bunch of sticky notes on my wall and just hovering my finger randomly to see which one um, I decide to point at. I think that would be a fun thing to do, just a little project. Yeah, so I think most of them will probably be Psalms. Um, I think that'll probably be good. Aside from that, I was just thinking about like, well, I've been given a lot of like business opportunities. Quite a few. I think there were a few here and there. There's one for marketing. It's actually considered to be network marketing, which you have to be careful about because it could be considered a Ponzi scheme or um, something, a Ponzi or pyramid scheme. This one seems a lot more credible. It's actually based off of Amway, and it's a distributing business for marketers to pay for their products and either for their self or get other people to get on their website to sell those products to those individuals. And you have like this point system where you make a certain amount of money. There's like a ratio from money to value. Um, P is called PV. So that the higher the PV, the higher the percentage of return you get. That's not marked up from the products that you are getting from Amway. You have like your retail profit, which is done by I don't know buying a particular product at a given uh, price tag and then marking it up to other people for its convenience, right? They can go on your website and you can give it to them and distribute it to their house that way. So I guess that's something I was considering, but at the same time, it's a decent form of gaining some kind of income, but also you have to consider the fact that um, it seems unrealistic to reach 75,000 PV because one PV is $3. So if you consider that, then if it not 75,000, 10,500, that is in the it's close to like that's quite a bit of money. $21,000. If I had to be exact, what is that? I don't feel like doing math right now. $22,500. So I was looking at that. I said I didn't want to be exact, and I decided to be exact, which is funny. Yeah, so I was looking at that. I was like $22,500 to get the 25% return and whatnot. Of course, it's not just that; it's just like the retail markup that you're doing as well. And it's also you can also get PV through other people. So you're this is a system that leverages other people a lot more. So it does seem like a pyramid scheme to me, even though it's all under IBO and it's a networking, somewhat reputable networking business that they've been doing for a while supposedly. But again, I kind of scratch my head and I'm a little bit skeptical because, again, like I mentioned, like a huge part of it's leverage from the people. Again, you're leveraging other people to gain a certain amount of, a point value system, right? So it seems very. It seems like a pyramid scheme. Like you can just tell, it just seems like a pyramid scheme. Just uh, kind of. I don't know. How would you say this? Uh, I don't know. It just seems like a pyramid scheme to me in disguise. Um, Again, like $75,000. That's a lot. within a month to get 25%. It's like you would have to like think of it like this. Like you'd have to, I mean, if you would like to scale it down, the best way to do it is to get as many people as possible. Like this guy, the Taj Zacharias guy, had like 30 people that he had under his network. Now it scales down, right? Because you can let's say you decide to get 10 people, right? And then you can tell those 10 people to find, three other people. Then you can scale that 75,000 to like 2,000. That seems a lot more realistic. 2,000 per person. But still, it's like what the average products that they sell at Amway is, um, you know, just cheap things like multivitamins, just common things that you use. And I kind of did the math earlier, the average of like $10. So if you think of it like that, you have 75,000, kind of like scale down 2,000, then you divide that by what, 10, 200 products sold in a month. That seems crazy. But at the same time, it's 200 products sold within a month, from your side, because you're scaling it down by that much, right? Of like I mentioned, it's like 10 people, and you divide that. Sorry, that's I meant to say it's $2,000 per month, per person, which is like still crazy in my opinion. You know what I mean? Um, and 200 products, I guess, is what I meant to say. 200 products. Um, I think I did the math right. I don't like my brain. I usually don't think about numbers much, but well, I used to think about numbers more, but nowadays when I just haven't been thinking about my money as much. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems unrealistic to me if I did the math correctly. Um, yeah, like 7,500. Again, like I mentioned, that is $22,500 if you want to reach the cap. Um, so if that $22,000 is scaled down by, let's say, 10 people, um, just 10 people, if you decide to find 10 people, right? That is uh, $250, right? That's $2,250 per person. So if you decide to do that, then the average price of a product would be probably $10, like I mentioned, which is like around $225, right? So $225, or it's not dollars. I meant to the unit is not $225. It's 225 products. So even when you have 10 people, it seems absurd to reach that cap. And like I mentioned, this guy named Taj Zacharias, he scaled it down by into 30 people, which I'm assuming that maybe he knew of 10 people, and then each of those 10 people may have known of three, or maybe it was like kind of scaled differently. Maybe one other person knew one other person, or something like that, or five. But on average, it scales down to 30 people, and you're relying on those other people to find other people, obviously. So he somehow found 30 people in his network. So then that means that 22,500 would be sub 1,000. That's where you would want it to be, of course. Sub 1,000 means probably 100 products sold in a month. That doesn't seem bad. 100 products sold in a month, meaning you can divide that per day. You'd be selling 3 products per day. That seems a lot more feasible, and the math does math properly if you decide to. So it again, like, it does seem like a pyramid scheme to a degree, but it's also useful, as long as you play smart, and as long as you know of other people that are willing to work to reach that particular goal in mind. And of course, everybody else is incentivized to do the same thing. You can think of it as it's definitely not a zero sum game. It's not a zero sum game. I wouldn't consider it to be zero sum. Um, you know. So I mean, that's a good thing, is that this is not a zero sum game. But at the same time, like, I could see it. I mean, I could probably find 10 people, but I don't know. I'm not much of a marketer, to be honest with you. I've never really been into sales and marketing. So that was like one way of building an income that I was considering, which is actually a lot easier than, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like when I think about like principles, right? Like my principles tend to get in the way of making certain decisions when it comes to making money. Although I may not be making a lot of money as of now, that is not my sole intention. I'm not here just to make money. I'm here to, like, build myself and my skill sets. I'm here to like change myself. Like this is I guess people would say it's about the the journey and not the end or the results of that given journey. Like I guess okay, if the results of the given journey is not just the reward, right? I forgot what people say about that. I forgot there's not it's about the journey and not the destination, I guess. So yeah, like my own principles tend to get in the way of me. So I tend to meld my principles with what I'd rather do and start from that, right? So for me, my principles are, well, I want to be of service to the world. This marketing technique is not necessarily a way of being of service to the world. To a degree it is, because we are distributing, you know, we're making more like products accessible. It makes things easier and more streamlined, but at the same time, you can go to your nearest Target and do that too. It's just like it just doesn't seem like something that I'm aligned with through my own principles that I have as of now. My principles tend to align with sharing knowledge and being a teacher to some extent. That's why I've always considered tutoring and all that, and that's why, since I'm going to Northeastern Illinois University, I'd rather have my focuses on pursuits involving absorbing as much knowledge as possible for STEM. Not all of STEM, probably just physics, math, and computers. So I do have to brush up on that before, I wouldn't say before I get back to school. I think I will at least, my goal is in, let's say, I don't know, by January or by February, I will have a working knowledge of calculus, university level calculus. Not like I could do real analysis, but I think calculus is high in demand, right? There are some people who actually struggle with calculus. I didn't. I would say I'm a fairly good teacher, so I can help people out with that. You know what I mean? And maybe find a way to monetize that later. Same thing with physics 101 and physics 101 and 102. Preferably university physics, not high school physics. So that means it's going to be a calculus applied to physics. So that's considered to be a hard course for a lot of people. It's considered to be a weeder course for anybody that is going through engineering and robotics or anything STEM oriented, pretty much. So again, and it's also considered hard for some people. So that's always considered. I've considered tutoring. So I guess I'd probably start off at the university I'm going to, which is Northeastern Illinois University. I'd start there to find a clientele for people who are maybe just not up to par with what the university is demanding from them. I'd actually look at other universities too, just to kind of start growing my clientele. Like, there's Loyola. Again, I've talked about this. There's Loyola right down the street. I have DePaul, which is pretty much down the street as well. NEIU is down the street, like I mentioned. UIC is another big school for math and physics, so I do that. I'm not sure about Northwestern. Northwestern is considered Ivy League. It has an acceptance rate of probably 50%. A lot of those students are pretty serious, so tutoring would probably be not as prominent as the other universities like Loyola, DePaul, and NEIU, even UIC. So that's what I'd imagine, is that people going to Northwestern probably have the necessary experience to get through the weeder courses. It's not going to be something that's hard for them. So I'm not really too focused on Northwestern, but I know I can definitely get clientele from NEIU, UIC, Loyola, and DePaul. These are like the biggest nodes that I can work off of as of now. I think I'd just like focus on calculus and standard university physics for the time being, but eventually, after I feel like I'm comfortable with tutoring at this level, I would like to expand into quantum physics, maybe. Thermodynamics was another one. I wrote a list of different subject areas pertaining to physics, mathematics, and computer science. So, and then eventually electrodynamics. Even though I've never taken a course in electrodynamics, university level electrodynamics, which means the focus text will probably be Griffiths. The same thing for quantum mechanics is going to be Griffiths, you know. So I'll be using Griffiths as a primary text for that. Um, I think Griffiths is good. You know, I think he's okay. You know, I like more challenging things, but I'm here to tutor and not necessarily challenge myself aside from my own patience, depending on the students I may have. But yeah, so I think Griffiths also has a thermodynamics text. Um, yeah, so I may do Griffiths for all of those as the primary text that I'll be using. I may look for a different text for thermodynamics, but that's besides the point. I also have to find a different. I think Shams is pretty good for physics 101 and 102, which is kinematics and basically all of electrodynamics at the foundational level. So I may do Shams. Shams is pretty good for people who are getting accustomed to university physics, who are kind of just maybe not, just not well practiced, or maybe it's just not as natural as it is to other people. And then there are other texts that, of course, you have your standard, like was it McCarver, I think, or something. I haven't researched the different university texts that I want to use for physics and calculus as well. So I'm going to look at different ones, and I have my own. For University of Physics, I forgot who that was. The author was. It was so long ago, so I may have to look back into that. Now, the reason why I want to do this is not necessarily just because I want to get money, but also I find it to be useful. I have a good why for it. Because there are a lot of people in the United States, especially, who are not traditionally trained in these hard fields. So I think I can find myself to be useful in this market. So I just had to properly market myself. I think marketing is something that is difficult for me. I think that's like the biggest help for me would definitely be like actually marketing myself and putting myself out there. But I believe that is a necessary experience that everybody should have, especially if you want to be self-employed in the future. So my ultimate focus is, well, I would say an umbrella goal above all of this, a bigger picture, the why that I'm actually constructing is self-employment. So the reason why I want to do this is because it actually garners skills in marketing, being able to communicate properly and be able to, communicate with different kinds of people and understand how they think of things and being able to curate that to them. So there are a lot of benefits to go down this path aside from the other path, which I was considering. Probably a lot easier, but I'm not here for easy. I want something difficult to build my character. So sure, the money's easy there, but I wouldn't find it to be fulfilling, and I'd rather do this because although it's a lot more difficult, I believe it's a useful avenue to build a skill set that I can use in the future. And eventually, I think once I get through this, while I'm going through school, I think it'll be beneficial for me. So I'm going to. I think this is probably the next somewhat big thing I want to do. Just again, like I get bored pretty easily. I like keeping myself busy, and I don't think I could just like skate through just going through school, even though I'm probably gonna be juggling multiple things because by January, I think school starts like maybe like 1:15 or like early January. Um, I'll have enough for I have enough for savings. I don't really have to worry about that. So like my mind's not in survival mode, really. But yeah, I'm gonna be juggling quite a bit. I probably be working full time uh, in school, and I would like to designate some of that time to actually teaching students and teaching people. Uh, you know, and I think for this semester I'm gonna keep it. I don't want to go in too far. So I don't want to, I don't want to be out of my depth. So I'm going to keep it in calculus and physics for the time being, while I get accustomed to being able to share information with people. So yeah. So again, like I mentioned, school full time, teaching will probably be part time. Um, I'd like that to be something I can implement into my weekly schedule. Um, and then I'll be, weekends I'll probably be working at that cafe that I typically do. So I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna be busy throughout the winter, um, and throughout the summer too. I'd probably, try to keep that form of income throughout the summer. So hopefully I can find some people I'd be able to help out with these kinds of stuff because it would be nice. It would be nice. Um, I could also see myself expanding out to Chicago State University as well. So Chicago State, again, is another cheapish school. You get a lot of people who just like. I think Chicago State University is primarily minorities. So, um, and no offense to the the education system in the United States, but a good chunk of the minorities don't have like higher education. So maybe I'd be able to help them out with being able to get through calculus and physics and harder subjects. Just can't be done without help for some people. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I have quite a bit of a plan. Um, I don't know where this came from. I was just kind of sitting down and allowing my head to wander for a little bit. Um, Although I guess I did consider it last year as well, but I also didn't have a good network to work off of because I wasn't going to school. Um, so there's that, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think this could work out pretty well. Um, and then I think by the fall semester, fall of 2026, um, I would like to expand out to harder subjects. Like quantum. I'd probably go to quantum, and then I could. I don't know if I could do quantum because I've never taken a traditional course in quantum physics. I'd be able to share some of it, but I don't think my knowledge of quantum physics is in depth enough for me to actually help tutor students with that kind of stuff. So I would have to probably wait until I take a course in quantum physics, or at least look at a lot of online resources and hopefully pass those qualifications and standards by myself before I feel like I'm comfortable enough to share with other people. Um, so yeah, um, I don't know. I've been kind of like reading the Bible. Like I think I mentioned that I was reading some of the Psalm stuff, and again, like I want to kind of devote some of the Bible verses I've been learning a lot um, for the past few weeks. This, I think on Thursday, what did we learn on Thursday? We talked about. I know on Tuesday we talked about light and darkness. On Monday we had I think the subject pertaining to. I don't think it was sensors. It was can't quite recall what it was, but I don't feel like referring to my notes because I don't have it with me. Yeah, so it was light and darkness for that one, and then we talked about on Thursday, I believe it was. I don't feel like taking my notes. I should know what we did 2 weeks ago. I don't know, because I also had to do another makeup lesson, which was on um, spirits. So, um, oh yeah, right, the lampstand. That's what we were learning on Thursday. And then Tuesday we were talking about light and darkness, which was interesting. And then Monday we were talking about cooking pots. Again, like I don't know. I don't feel as invested as everybody else, but I'm still kind of going through the course, and I'd at least like to have a few takeaways from this. Um, and I think the exam is probably late December for the first part of the course, which is an introduction to parables, and then there's going to be an introduction to parables part 2 after I think late December. So I have that. It's just like I don't want to talk about what I learned for the past week or so because that would be like another 30 minutes and I'd have to like shift myself into that mindset about like what we were learning, and my mind is kind of scattered today. Um, but it was all interesting. That's all I can say. I know a lot of people probably wonder about my progress with the Bible, but yeah, I think I'm going to maybe share some more maybe tomorrow. I don't have a lot of stuff on my hands tomorrow, so I'll share more of uh, the topics that we covered this week. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Like I wouldn't say it's that profound, but again, the reason why it's not that profound is because again we're just going over the different figurative languages, and so far I haven't named the course because again this stuff is not like something I'm completely unaccustomed to. I don't have trouble reading literature for the most part, um, but I would say I'm learning a decent amount. So yeah, for the most part, yeah, I like it. Regardless of that, I think it keeps me in a positive mood, and the pastor is nice, and I said pastor, I meant to say pastor. The pastor's nice, and the evangelists are good, and the evangelist I'm assigned to is really fun to talk to. He's an electrical engineer, and I think I brought that shirt yesterday to the makeup course that I was class whatever makeup lesson that I was taking, and he thought it was funny, so it was kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm not trying to do too much because I have I'm going to Puerto Rico early December until January, and yeah, I have enough income from my other job plus the city plus uh, snaps and whatnot to cover myself for a vacation um, for a whole month. So I'm going to be sunbathing in Puerto Rico from December 9th until January 8th, right before school, which is going to be fun. I think I kind of needed that. I need that break. It's well deserved. I think it's well deserved. Maybe other people would say otherwise, and I could be working harder, but I think I'm doing quite a bit as of now. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know what else to share. Mm, yeah, I really don't know what else. I can't speak today. I don't know what else to share, so I think I'm going to cut it off early. Goodbye.